Listen, this is new technology for us. We're trying out something new today. So Alesha and I are saying, wow, we are truly stepping out into the deep. So if you're out there, please just send us a note. Let me know you're there. That would be so helpful. It will make us feel really comfortable. So let us know you're out there.
And this will be a great lesson for all want to be published authors. It does not have to be perfect. Often it is not. So you go with what you have, you make it work, and you improvise. Which would be pivotal to the book writing and publication process. I talk about that all the time. You have this perfect plan, you set things up,
Right,
and then you start
exactly.
to publish the book, and it's like, what happened? You have to just go with it. You just go with it.
It's not a touch screen.
Oh, I thought this one was.
I do one more thing. Hold on. Let them know where I'm getting ready to get started.
So we are going to get started in just a moment or so. But so excited to be here with you tonight and actually to be talking about one of my favorite loves, book publication.
Right.
And it really isn't as complicated as people think. I think one of the first major things, I'm not going to get too far into it because we do have a set schedule, but I think one of the most complicated things is really having the mindset to actually start writing your book. There is a mindset of an author versus what you might be thinking before you start the right publication process. So
yeah, so like I said, I am excited because I know those of you that have never written a book but have a desire to write a book, those of you that have written a book, maybe it was your first or even your second and you didn't feel like the book was up to par.
Exactly.
Tonight you'll get answers to some of your questions that I believe will help you to move forward with your plans on writing a book. So it really doesn't matter what your level of experience is. You will find tonight's information helpful.
Exactly. And we can't wait to share with you why this is so important. One of the things I always say from my platform is it's never just about a book. That might be how you come in, but it's never just about a book.
Hey, Atia, I see that you've joined us.
Yes.
Hey, friend. It's so good to see you, and I hope all is well with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Love it.
Go live.
All right. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, there is so much excitement here where we are into the studio tonight, just looking forward to getting started. And so let me just give you a frame of reference for why we are doing tonight's session. So in November, beginning of November, I had a book signing. I co-authored a book with 5 other women. It was such an exciting process. Took me well out of my comfort zone. Began to re-energize my creativity. It was truly exciting. Following my book signing, I had a number of people that contacted me and said, hey, I've written a book. I thought about writing a book. I have questions. I would like to know how to get my book published. And in all honesty, this is not my area of expertise. And while I could have easily just provided the name and the website for people that I know can provide you with responses and answers to help you, I really wanted to facilitate a connection with some experts in the field. 2 ladies that I know can bring you the answers that you're looking for. 2 ladies that will not just provide you with answers, but will literally take you by the hand and help chauffeur you through the process. And so I really wanted to have this opportunity, have a forum to allow you to get to know them. Yes. And so tonight is just the first of a 2-session interview. Our second session will be held on Thursday, December 31st at 7. And we'll be doing that session with Lakeisha McKnight. Tonight, our first session, I am so excited extremely excited because I have an opportunity to share this platform with a woman who I have come to learn to love. She inspires me. I admire her, and she is truly an expert in this field. So tonight, I'll be introducing you to Alesha Brown. Alesha is also known as the Joy Guru, and trust me, I believe by the end of this interview, you'll understand why she has earned that name of the Joy Guru. Alesha is a best-selling author. She's a radio personality, and she's a motivational speaker, and she really encourages audiences to ignite the fire within them and to get your joy back. And who doesn't want to have their joy back?
Yes.
Alesha is also a professional writer, and she's an editor. She's also the owner of Alesha Brown LLC, which offers authors writing consultation services to help people write their story and share their testimony. So I'd like Facebook family, I want you to help me give a warm welcome to Alesha Brown. Alesha, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for the opportunity. This truly blesses my heart because this is what I love to do.
Yes. And audience, I'm telling you, it really is a blessing to have Alesha here. She is so busy. Alesha just recently, in addition to her long line of credentials, she just recently became the managing director for the Hampton Roads area of the E-Women's Network. So she is extremely busy. Hey, Kamika, thank you for joining. Thank you so much. Glad to have you on board. Hey, Kenneth, hey, thank you so much. All the way from Pennsylvania. Appreciate you being live with us tonight. And so we just want to introduce you to Alesha. Alesha, how's everything?
As she mentioned, busy.
Exactly.
But busy is good in business. So
yes,
you can't complain.
Yes, it is.
I'm just honored to be here tonight. I was laughing because some of the story you were telling about how this started. It's a story of how my business started.
Okay.
Okay. I just had that dream. I have been writing since I was a child. And we'll talk about a little bit later what inspired me to go ahead, get off my duff, and publish that first book. But it was like, I got all these questions. And I kept giving people information. And then they kept coming back and asking questions.
Right.
So, I run into them 6 months later. I'm going, how's your book going? And they're looking at me like, I'm going, I gave them the information. Why haven't you written a book? And I realized that, people, it's not always the information that you need. You do need that, but they need someone to hold their hands and walk them through the process.
Right.
They want someone to make them accountable. So that started a whole business, and the next thing I knew, I was 100% self-employed, and books have just literally taken over my life. So, it's not a bad thing.
We are absolutely glad you're here. And at the beginning of the broadcast, I mentioned that the information you'll hear tonight is great information. So if you're a person that has a desire to write a book but you've never written one, you're in the right place. If you're a person that you've written a book, maybe even several books, and you're looking for how you can improve your writing, you too are in the right place.
Yes.
So Alesha, let's go ahead and jump right in.
Okay.
And so you mentioned that you've been writing books since you were a child.
Yes.
So Alesha, just share with us a bit. How many books have you written? Sounds like you
Wow.
clearly have been writing books for quite a while. But just tell us a bit about how many books do you have written, and if you can even think back to the very first book that you wrote, what inspired you to write that book?
Okay. Well, how many books have I written? There's 2 official self-help books. One of them is actually a book of poetry.
Okay.
I am also a poet. And then there are 6 journals that come with it because I really want people to have that process where you're journaling. For me as a child, journaling was everything, and that was really the beginning of me writing. It was a place for me to actually collect my thoughts.
Okay.
It was a place for me to express myself. So that started, and like most of the people that say I want to write a book, it really isn't new material.
Mm-hmm.
You've written it. If you're a person that does social media, you'll find pages and chapters all through your posts, and you may not even realize that's the beginning of your book. If you've ever journaled or have a diary, Oftentimes you find inspiration or parts of your story right in that journal or diary. So you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. But for me, what inspired me to write a book, for those that are new to my platform, I was a childhood abuse survivor. So my thing was, that was my coping mechanism. I taught myself to read when I was 4 years old. And my mother, the funny thing, our home right down the street, right down the block was a library. So she made sure, because I loved to read so much, that I was always at the library, every reading program, everything. What she didn't know was that was my only form of escape. So when I was able to read books, it took me to another place where I didn't have to think about the situation at home. What she also didn't know, until really years, decades later, was that those books I read, I stumbled upon survivor stories. And I would read and think, their story's worse than mine. So if they made it and they became successful, maybe I can too. So literally books became something that on different times, when I contemplated suicide, because I had enough, I couldn't take it anymore, and I saw no other means of escape. Those stories at that moment, God knows how to bring us the right word at the right time.
Right,
those stories literally saved my life. So that is why I'm so passionate about people owning your story. Because first, if you're going to make the decision to be an author, for those that have nonfiction stories or stories of survival that you want to share, you got to own it first before you can put it on pens and paper. And then you want to publish it so other people can read it. That's a huge step. So that really was my passion from that point forward. Saving lives by revealing the story, owning my own story, and being able to offer whatever guidance, whatever self-help was produced from that.
Okay, awesome. So stories truly are powerful. And
yes.
One of the things that you said, which I would love for us to just elaborate a little bit more on, you talked about the importance of writing journals. And I know when I was in the process of writing my book, I found that when I took time to just write my thoughts, and my thoughts weren't always coherent and they didn't always have a logical flow, but I found when I took time to write down what was on my mind, what I was thinking, it helped to actually improve my creativity. I found that words began to flow, my thoughts began to flow, my ideas began to flow. So just talk a bit more about the importance of journaling. So even before you get to that point of owning your own story, if I understood you, it sounds like we oftentimes can find our story in those messages that we write. So talk a little bit more about journaling.
Journaling is so important. It's almost, I'll equate it to a budget.
Okay.
You have all this stuff in your head, and I need to do that. I spend that much on that. I spend that much on that. But until you put it on paper, you're not accountable. It's not, in a position where you see it, it's visual, it's real. Mm-hmm. You understand to the T, the bottom line, the dollars and cents. So, your story is the same way. Your thoughts are the same way. Until you put those on paper, you're not 100% face-to-face with it. So it's so important for you to journal. And thoughts, we forget thoughts. Sometimes you have the most awesome ideas, maybe the middle of the night, or maybe the afternoon, maybe the morning, whenever you get them. And it's the perfect book, or it's the perfect section. It inspires you to write. If you don't chronicle it, it often just goes. We're so busy nowadays, you just forget it. You just forget it.
Right.
So it's like, oh, what was that great thought at 2 a.m? If you don't journal and at least write that piece down, it's gone.
Yes. In fact, I've learned to keep a pen and a pad by my bed because it never fails. That tends to be the time when I'm falling asleep or when I'm actually asleep. That tends to be the time that I feel like I get some of my best thoughts.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, hey, I see that we have Araceli that has joined us, Candy and Adrian. Thank you guys so much for being here with us today. It really means a lot. And so
Absolutely.
while Alesha and I are chatting, we would love for you to provide us your questions. I know that you have questions. We want to make sure that we specifically have your questions. So now is a great time. If you have a question, go ahead and drop that question in the chat area, and Alesha and I will be happy to answer that for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, one question, just to get the ball rolling, that I get asked all the time. Isn't it expensive to write a book?
Oh, yes.
No. Right? It's free to write a book. Now, the publishing part,
Right.
that's the part that can get a little pricey. But one of the things, because I'll share my testimony, I have written so many books. I mean, honestly, I have so many books even now that are half over here and, it's a third of the way, whatever. I literally, especially for the book of poetry, I had to go through all of these different things with pieces I forgot from decades ago. But the thing is, you have to know what to invest your money in and what not.
Okay.
And also, one of the things that really limited me is I had my idea on the old publishing way, traditional publishing. So it's like, well, until I have thousands of dollars, I can't publish a book.
Right.
Self-publishing completely changed everything. And, a lot of us, at least me, when you hear that term self-publishing, it's like, oh, that's that thing people do where they publish it themselves, and you can tell because the book cover looks cheap, and because this looks cheap, and this looks cheap. No. There's so many services that give you that professional, polished-looking book. People can't even tell if you do it right that you self-publish, and it allows you to be in a budget where you control more of the revenue that you receive, and you also control your message. And one of the myths I also want to dispel right now.
Okay.
You will never get rich off of a book. I'm so sorry. If you're a client of mine, that's one of the first things we talk about. Because people have these dreams, and I'm not about crushing your dreams. But, I'm going to be a bestseller. And it's going to be a New York Times bestseller. And I'm just going to be a millionaire because I am the next Harry Potter. No one gets rich off of a book. They don't. Now, you can get money and get rich off of a platform that you create from a book.
Okay.
But just the book alone, you're not going to get rich off of it. I hate to tell you that. Just giving you the example of New York Times bestseller. On average, to even qualify for what it takes to be a New York Times bestseller, you're going to spend at a bare minimum $250,000. And
that's quite a bit.
yeah,
That's quite a bit.
And that it doesn't end there. Once you pay that minimum, those 6 figures, the amount of royalties you can get from that book is not the same as self-publishing. So you literally get pennies on a dollar. However, for certain people that have that type of money to invest, it's a strategic thing.
Okay.
So it may work for them. It may be a good thing for them. But that's one of the things we talk about with clients. It's just that I need to know what you're thinking and what your vision is, and then we talk about how to achieve that. Because sometimes we have these ideas based on what we've seen and lack of information. We have no idea how that works.
Okay.
So it's like, no, you won't get rich off of a book, but you'll get rich off the platform that you create from the book. The book can strategically be used to open doors, which is how I got into radio and all of those different things and public speaking.
All right. So I see we have a question from Candy. So Candy, thank you so much for your question. And so your question says, one of my goals this year is to have the children of Haiti write a book in French and have it published in English. My question is, will that be hard to do? Alesha?
Yes and no. If you know me, I always have yes and no answers. That is a good example of how, with writing, and I equate it a lot of times to entrepreneurship, being a business owner, creativity. So one of the things I like to do with my clients is emphasize. Never have a vision based on your budget. Never have a vision based on what you know. Because there's always a way to do it, and then there's always a way to do it that may be untraditional. Right. So I'm going to say with something like that, children with the book in Haiti, she wants it done in French. There's a way to do it. It is not hard. I think what would be the hardest part is actually going through to get the resources to have it done. Picking the right person to actually do that for her.
Okay.
But it is possible. And actually, I know Miss Candy, so we'll have a phone conversation about that one.
Okay. And I see that Dwight has joined us. Thank you so much,
Yay!
Dwight, for joining. So, Alesha, I want to go back for a moment to the comments you made about a book being a great way to open up a platform.
Yes.
So, let's share a little bit with us. If I can't depend on the book to make money for me or to make a lot of money for me, then what are the benefits of writing a book? And when you talk about a platform, exactly what do you mean by that?
Okay. What are the benefits of writing a book? Okay. People automatically feel like it's a credibility thing. Because although we see everybody has a book right now, you know, you turn, somebody has a book next week that was your next door neighbor. As often as you see people publishing a book, releasing a book, it's still only 3% of those people who want to write a book that actually do it. So you're still part of a very small group. So when you say you are a published author and you present that next to whatever you do, let's say you're a financial expert and you have a book that talks about financial strategies, immediately people give you another layer of credibility.
Right.
So you use that, you can use that with the media. You can use that to have, you know, radio shows. You can use that to create a Facebook TV segment. I mean, there's different ways you utilize that book to actually open the door. One of the things about being a radio personality, that opportunity was extended to me because of the fact that I had just published a book. All I knew is I need to promote this book. And there happened to be auditions for this blog talk radio show. So I was contacted by a media person, auditioned, wound up not only just being a co-host for the show, but wound up, you know, being an assistant station manager, being a main co-host. So that all came from one book. So one of the things, and I didn't know that at the time, so one of the things that when I work with clients, I try to get them to do, have a clear vision of what you want. Once we get through the layers of, yeah, we're not going to get rich just from having a book, but why are you writing this book? You know, who are you writing it to? And it's not everyone.
Right, exactly.
You got to have an ideal target, this who needs your message, and what do you offer for them to receive that message. So once you're clear on that, we can come up with strategies to think outside of the box of how you reach that person. I'm going to give a very short, brief example.
Okay.
Somebody writes a children's book. I have a person I'm working with right now. She has an awesome children's book about facing your fears. But one of the examples she uses in there, I said, you know what? That book is excellent for doctor's offices. That book is excellent for pediatricians because one of the subjects she deals with. So when we're looking at who needs that book, well, people go, well, kids need that book. Who do you market it to?
Right.
Go outside the box. If this is a great resource for pediatricians, if this is a great resource for children, you know, parents of children this age and this age, that's who you market to. So you don't care about all these things that people have. I want to be a New York Times bestseller. That's great. But since you probably don't have the 6 figures to pull that one off, let's talk about the unique marketing strategies to get that done. Who do you need to do? One thing a lot of people don't think about, bulk sales. You know, it's great to be an Amazon #1 seller, but if I can get bulk sales from a large entity, a major corporate sponsor, if I can get like 1,000 of these books that are sold, and I'm self-publishing, so I know what my profit margin is, let me go ahead and target over there. And if I can get like 4 or 5 of those clients, the revenue just skyrockets. While someone else is over here trying to spend all this money to become a #1 bestseller on Amazon, and they're probably not getting that much profit.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, Alesha, it sounds like if I were to sum up what you're saying, what it really boils down to is writing a book should really be about helping a specific audience.
Yes.
If we're generally, if the goal is to write a book solely for the purpose of making money, then odds are you're not going to make money.
Yeah.
But if your purpose of your book really is to inspire others, to help solve a problem that other people have, and you have a way, you have an answer to helping other people, you then are most likely going to be successful in your book.
Absolutely. And you said one key thing, solving a problem. If you don't remember anything else we tell you tonight, solving a problem. When you solve a problem with what you write and you clearly communicate that, bingo. That's what sells the book, that you're solving my problem, and I can get that problem solved solved by the time I finish reading your book.
Great, awesome. So we're going to pause for a moment and see if our audience has any questions. Anyone have any questions related to writing your book?
And while we're waiting for those questions, I'll just add, one of the other questions people always ask me, well, don't you have to be a good writer to write a book? No. No, you don't. And this is what people don't realize. Some of the best books in the world, they didn't write a doggone thing.
Right.
That's one of the things I like to do. People call it ghostwriter. I have served as a ghostwriter.
Okay.
I want to tell people that's a myth, just like that New York Times sellers thing. Most people don't have the budget for that either.
Right.
Because a good ghostwriter has to follow you so many hours so they make sure they write the book in your voice. But what I do like to do is try to show you strategies where you can write that book yourself and make it easy for you to be able to get those words out. Because, a lot of people, well, I just want to be a ghostwriter to do that. No, you don't. Really, you don't. There's some techniques to work with you to get that to flow out of you effortlessly.
Okay. Great. So, Alesha, now I know you are also an editor. And having written a book or co-authored a book, I know that there is the process of getting my thoughts out and getting it all laid out on the paper. And then there is the critical step of having your work edited.
Yes.
So, can you share with the audience how that process works and maybe even some tips about ensuring that you get a great editor?
There's a lot of things. That's one of my pet peeves. There's so many things with the book. We can strategize on, don't spend a lot of money there. Spend this much here. The editing one, that is not one you can afford to not invest and spend money on.
Right.
I mean, no editor is 100% perfect, so I'll put that out. People freak out, oh, there's an error. Now if you paid somebody all this money and there's like chock full of errors, we have a problem.
Exactly.
But I always tell people the wonderful thing about self-publishing, at any time you can correct something you see that's wrong and have that thing right back online. 24, 48 hours, you're good to go. Right. So that's a nice thing about self-publishing.
Yes,
and then you're not stuck with, well, I got 1,000 copies of what's wrong because they made me in my contract sit up here and pay for all these copies. You have print on demand for you. And then your clients can go straight to Amazon and order it for them, so you can work with that. I would say, though, know what type of editing the person does. Like, I'm a developmental editor, which is completely different from someone that specializes in proofreading. Give you an example. A developmental editor is going to work with the flow of your book. They're going to work with the voice of your book. Are you passive here? Are you saying things in third person and then over here you're in first person?
Right.
That is inconsistent. Also, like I said, the flow of your book. Do you get them here and then you lose them here? Are you saying too much here and you need to be more expressive over here? You need to know what editing.
I was not aware that you have the various types of editors, and that it's important to know and understand that particular editor's lane of specialty. So great information, and thank you so much for sharing that. We're using a little bit of new technology today, and so on my end it appears that the video may have ended. I'm assuming that means we still have the audio. So we are going to continue. If you can hear me, if someone would let me know, I would certainly appreciate it. And by the way, hi Yvette.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining.
I can't tell you just yet. Looks like.
So if someone can hear us, if you would please drop a line and let us know in the comment field. Let us know you can hear us. That would be great.
We are back live.
Okay.
All right.
So my technical director tells us that we are back live. I love technology. Technology is great when it works, but when it doesn't, I'm learning how to just go with the flow.
Which you will need to know when writing a book. Between production and publication deadlines, and I know it's going to be here by now, and they printed it wrong, and this didn't go. You're going to have to know how to flow and just chill out sometimes. We can fix this. All right.
So go ahead and put your questions, any specific questions you may have about writing a book, go ahead and put your questions in the comment area. And also, for those of you that have joined us, if you'll remain till the end, we have a very special surprise for you.
Yes.
So not only will you get questions and answers, but we have a nice gift that we like to share with you, and we'll share that as we get to the end of the broadcast. So
Yes.
please stay on the line and join us. And please, again, share your questions with us. We want to know what you would like to know about writing the book. One of the things I've gone to Alesha's site, and she says on her site that there is a story in each of us.
Yes.
So that being the case, I am sure that you have a story and you have questions about how to get that story out. How do you dig deep into yourself and get that story out? So go ahead, post your questions in the comment field and let us know what's on your mind.
One of the things I will say as well, people ask me what makes a good book.
Yeah, that's a great question.
And I'll say it depends on what type of book you want. What type of book are you writing and for what objective.
Okay.
But a basic rule of thumb I tell them is that a good book is a good conversation.
Right.
So I can tell, and I have criteria for the clients I have because I want you to be accountable. So we have deadlines, we have a structure to it, even though, we use techniques to make it flow.
Okay.
So one of the things sometimes when I'm looking at pieces that they've submitted, I go, were you stressed when you wrote that? Yeah. I had this going on, I had that going on, and I knew I had to meet the deadline and submit this. I said, okay, great. This is a teachable moment. If you're stressed, if it was a hard press for you to write that, that's exactly the way it reads. So I can tell when there were some issues here, and your reader will too. So I tell people, for some people, it's so hard to sit down with pen and paper. Or, when they think about sitting at a keyboard and typing this, they just lock up. And that's what it reads like. So I tell people, think of a conversation. For some people, we have to go through techniques where you're sitting right in front of me, I'm interviewing you. Or let's just say you're with your girlfriends, your guy friends this weekend, and this is a subject and you're just talking. Oh, yeah, well, then I would, we did. That's how I need you to write. So, we work on what technique do I need to get you in that headspace every time you're going to write. And most people speak better than they write.
Right.
So if you can get in that mindset, and we can use a few techniques to get you there, that's your book. It's a good conversation. It's a conversation that flows. If you feel stressed, okay, I got to write this many words. Okay, I got to write a chapter. Okay, this week I need 3 chapters. It reads just like that.
Okay.
It reads just like that. And we can all tell, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, we can tell, this is hard. So when you read it, it's like, okay. We're up with you on those moments where it was a flow, and then when it was a press, we're like, yeah, okay.
You can tell.
All right. And that's where you lose the reader.
I'm chuckling because I had a few of those moments myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a few
All
of
right.
those moments.
All right.
So, Alesha, how long, on average, does it take to write a book?
Another one of my favorite questions. I say that always depends on the person,
Okay.
as well as what they want. I have some people that are just like, oh, my goal is to finish it at the end of this year. Then I have other people that come to me at certain times. I got to have a book by Christmas, and we're looking at October. Okay? Technically, you can write a book in a weekend. But, I look at that person, what's feasible for you?
Right.
What type of book are we talking about? Because sometimes one of the biggest issues with clients, you don't know when to stop talking. So I allow you to keep writing. Write to your heart's content. But as a developmental editor, we got to know when to cut your book off. This is not one book. This is the first book. We're going to end it right here. Mm-hmm. This is the second book. Okay. Maybe this is a series. And a lot of people, when they're writing, they don't realize it's a series. They're thinking one book.
Right.
So I let them do that. I let them flow like that. But it depends on you. Some people are very structured. You tell me what you want. You tell me the intent of your book. You tell me what's your ideal goal when you want it out. I would say personally, I prefer people to at least come up within 90 days that you want to finish that book.
Okay.
Because when you stretch it a year, I don't think you take it seriously. Okay. If I know I have a 90-day guideline.
Right.
Yeah.
You're more apt to get it completed.
Exactly.
Great. Okay, great. Hey guys, I am so excited because I see
Yes.
that Lakeisha McKnight has joined us. And if you were
Awesome.
here at the beginning of the broadcast, you heard me say that Lakeisha will be with us on
Yes.
Thursday. So Lakeisha is also an author, and she has a program that mentors and trains authors as well.
Exactly.
And so as I mentioned, these two ladies, Alesha and Lakeisha, have been extremely instrumental to me. I admire them both, love them both, and just enjoy their work, and I just enjoy how they share with others and serve others, add value to others. And so on Thursday, we're going to continue this discussion with Lakeisha. So Lakeisha, thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely.
So we are just about at the end of our time, but before we go, I did promise that because you had an opportunity to join us today, that you would receive a complimentary gift from Alesha.
Yes.
And so I'm going to allow Alesha to tell you not only about the complimentary gift that you can obtain, but also I'd like Alesha to tell us a little bit more about the services she offers, how you can contact her, follow her, get in touch with her, work with her. So Alesha, take
All
us
right.
home.
Wow, that's a lot of information. Well, the free gift, if you go to thejoyguru.net, go to my bookstore page, you will see a cute little bow at the top that says free gift. We're going to make this as simple as possible. If you click on that icon, free gift, it will take you to a page. I need you to just enter your email address. We will thank you for doing that, and you immediately get that free gift. The free gift is why you cannot afford to wait on your dreams. Very short read for you, or why you cannot afford to wait another day to pursue your purpose. So important. Because
Exactly.
what I find is that so many people, you have a dream of writing a book. You have a dream for a lot of things. You can envision what this book, the difference it would make, and you see this plot, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, but it never comes to fruition. And every time someone publishes a book, especially when it starts meeting people that you know, like that next door neighbor, I could have done that.
Right.
I had that idea. My book would read better than that. But if you never do anything, and as I shared earlier in the broadcast, my why, and I think that's the problem with a lot of authors, you don't realize your why.
Right.
And you also don't realize the value of if you publish that book. It has nothing to do with you. It is all about the person reading that book that needs it.
Exactly.
And I'll bring you back to the thought. That little child that was going through abuse, if I had never read those testimonies in that moment of pain, literally, because this is my why, literally when I was contemplating suicide, age 5, age 6, age 7, go all through the years, what if that word, that testimony that I read had not been there and hadn't crossed my mind?
Exactly.
We don't know what would have happened. Same thing with our kids today. You see they're being bullied. You see all of this stuff on social media.
Right.
And you see them killing themselves. You never know something that you do, something you said, something you publish could get in the hands of that person that desperately needs it and changes their entire life. If you understand that perspective, then you understand why you cannot afford to wait one more day, one more moment to pursue your purpose.
Exactly.
You're not just cheating yourself, you're cheating the person that it's designed for. And I tell people, pain does pay. When you pay it forward and you make a difference in someone else's life, it does pay. And we're not talking about financial. There can be
Much
financial
greater.
rewards, but there's a greater purpose for you to
Absolutely.
do that. So that's one of the things I like to help people with.
Okay.
You can, of course, go to thejoyguru.net. You can find out more about me. I do offer author consultation services because you need accountability. And I find, especially for my specialty, which is nonfiction, doesn't just have to be abuse stories. I have done things with children's book because I do have a nonprofit program as well that we cater to children, that we cater to adults for those things to get them to express themselves and encourage entrepreneurship. I find that people need people to hold their hand. Let's be honest, nothing is new under the sun. So there's a plethora of books. There's a plethora of websites that will give you all the information to how to self-publish from A to Z. but people want someone to walk them through the process and hold them accountable.
Exactly.
So I offer those services. With the line of work of what I deal with, people need a safe space because I know when they come, you know, I've had things where I ask them the question, okay, so what's your topic? What would you like to write on? I've had people boo-hoo for like 30 straight minutes. Can't get a word out. I'm going, we just started. I just asked what they wanted to write on. Why aren't you? Because it's bigger than a book. So you have to have that environment of trust, that safe space, understanding confidentiality, and being able to show that empathy and caring where you can really get that book out of the person. Now, other people, you're writing a finance book, may not be as emotional. But same thing, confidentiality, trust, and being able to walk that person through the process.
Okay.
Also, editing services, developmental editing services, ghostwriting services, if needed. So important. Please, as we shared earlier, the different types of editing, I would say just the cheat of all cheats, get a developmental editor. Because they'll deal with the tense, the voice, the structure, the flow. You need all of that.
Right.
You don't just need punctuation.
Okay.
But yes, those are all the services for that.
Awesome. So, Alesha, tell us one more time. Your website is
thejoyguru.net. I could tell you another website for me, which is aleshabrown.net, but most people never spell my first name right.
So, let's spell Alesha's name. So that would be Alesha, Alesha Brown.
Yes.
So, Alesha, it has been a joy having you here. I'm going to
Likewise.
check just to see if we have any final questions. If you have a final question that you'd like us to answer tonight, please go ahead and post it in the comment area. We'd be happy to get that question in. And also, don't forget to go to Alesha's website one more time.
Yes, thejoyguru.net, and go to the tab that says bookstore. You will see an icon that says free gift. If you click on that, immediately it will say a thank you and it will send you the free gift to your email. I'll just use this disclaimer though. For those that use Gmail or depending on your security services, you may find it in your promotions tab, or some of you might have in your spam folder. So, you know, with the free gift, don't forget, because people will be looking at that inbox like, well, where is it? I gave you my email address. It might be in the promotions tab, or your security might put it in the spam folder. So,
And if you have any questions, if you didn't get that website and you would like to contact Alesha, please feel free to drop me a line in Messenger, and I'll be more than happy to connect you with Alesha. Also, Alesha, tell us a little, what is that free gift? We said we've offered.
Some of you
what
might
is
have joined us late. It's actually a PDF version of the fact that you cannot afford to wait on your purpose. So, you know, I find that people, you want to write a book, you have all these ideas, but the point is, if you don't do it, all the ideas, the strategies, what you know, the developmental editor, all the steps means absolutely nothing because you've done nothing. So, you know, one of the first parts I think is so important for you understanding why you can't wait, why you need to proceed forward, why you need to take this seriously, why you need to take a risk on you. Because at the end of the day, it's not that you're not a good writer. It's not that you don't know enough. It's not that, you know, who wants to read my book? Bottom line is you don't believe in your own story. You don't know and realize the power that your story has. And you don't believe in yourself to be able to be a published author. So I know for a fact, once you read that and realize your story, it's a life raft to someone else's problems.
Ooh, I love that.
It will change. It will change you from sitting on the couch and doing nothing to getting up and starting to take action right now.
Telling your story. Great. And I see as we wrap up, V joined us. V, thank you so much for joining us. And as we are about to close, please feel free to watch the rebroadcast of tonight's interview. Again, just a quick reminder, Thursday at 7 p.m., we'll have the second half of this interview series with Lakeisha McKnight. Same place, same channel,
Yeah.
So Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Once again, Alesha, thank you so
Yes.
much for your time,
Thank
for
you.
the wealth of information that you shared with us. And guys, you got to know that what you have received tonight is just a drop in the bucket. There's much more. So please feel free to reach out to Alesha, contact her, connect with her, and feel free to talk with her one-on-one.
Yes.
Again,
Oh.
thank you so much. Yeah, thank
I
you so much
forgot
for
one
joining.
more thing.
Absolutely.
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
Those of you that are in the Hampton Roads area, if you go to thejoyguru.net, the first page, you will land on it. There is going to be an event. I made a promise to my platform because they kept asking for it. Monthly, we will have sessions for writing. They will be events open to men and women. I will feed you because I believe in that.
Awesome.
I try. But we'll have those sessions to just talk about different topics and actually to start your writing process. So you'll be able to come around other people that are like you, and we'll just have an open, you don't have to tell me your story there, but we will get that energy going,
Right.
getting that momentum and having those open dialogues. And from there you can follow up and we can start your writing process.
Okay, great.
And the first one is going to be Saturday, January the 20th. If you go to my website, thejoyguru.net, you'll get all the details for how you can register.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So don't forget, Saturday, January 20th.
Yes.
In the meantime, go ahead and start that process of journaling.
Yes.
Again, it doesn't have to be cohesive, doesn't have to flow logically. Just go ahead and begin to get your thoughts down and watch your creativity begin to grow. Ladies and gentlemen, it has truly been a pleasure having you here tonight, and I look forward to seeing you again on Thursday. Alesha, thank you so much. I'm so glad you were here. Thank you.
Likewise, she's one of my
Awesome.
favorite people. She's amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, good night, everyone. Take
Good
care.
night.
Happy holidays.
Absolutely.